Assalamu alaikum. I am Savera and I am going to tell you about the neurological development. To understand how neurological development is occur, we have to know that about the brain, how brain is developed. Everything we do, feel and say from infancy to the end of life reflect the functioning of our brain. How is the brain organized? The neuron. The neuron is the basic building block of the nervous system. They are often grouped in bundles called nerves. There are billions and billions of neurons throughout the body. You can see in this picture the complex structure of the neuron. There are four parts of the neuron. Dendrites are specialized to receive signals from neighboring neurons and carry them back to the cell body. Thin bushy-like structure that receive information from outside the neuron release the information into the cell body. The neuron. The cell body contains the cell nucleus. The cell body releases the information down to the axon. The structure of a neuron. Axon, a thin long structure that transmits signal from the cell body to the terminal buttons. The axon is wrapped in myelin, a fatty sheet that allows it to transmit information more rapidly. You can see the structure of the axon. Once that information hits the terminal button, it is transmitted outside the cell by neurotransmitter which reside in the axon terminal. There is a picture of a neuron in which cell body, dendrites, nucleus and axons are labeled. There are some fun facts. Average number of neurons in the human brain 100 billions. Average number of neurons in an octopus brain 300 millions. Rate of neuron growth during development of a fetus while in womb 250,000 neurons per minute. The information shoots from one end of the neuron to the other. How do neurons communicate? Electrical communication. Action potential is an electrical current sent down the axon initiate the release of neurotransmitter. The activity within the neuron is electrical. This current causes the neuron to fire. When an action potential moves down the axon, it causes the release of neurotransmitters. Synaptic transmission. The neurons don't actually touch each other. There is gap between one neuron and the next called synapses. The space between neurons. Information must be transmitted across the synapse to the neurons via the neurotransmitters. Here in this picture you can see there is a synaptic cleft. There is a gap shown. Neurotransmitters are chemical substances that reside in the axon's terminals. They communicate to other neurons by binding to receptors and neighboring neurons. What observation can you make about the brain? There are different types of brain. Now, brain development. The wrinkled outer area of the brain is called a cerebellar cortex. The cortex regulates many of our functions that we think of distinctly human. Your personality, ability to carry out plans, certain types of thinking, memory, sensory activity. Looking at the brain. The exterior covering cortex of the brain is wrinkled which increases the surface area of the brain. The brain is divided into two hemispheres, right and left hemisphere. The corpus callosum connects these hemispheres and allows communication from one side of the brain to the other. Corpus callosum. The beginning of the brain can be traced to the period of the zygote. Approximately 3 weeks after conception, a group of cells form a flat structure called the neural plate. The neural plate folds to form a tube that ultimately becomes the brain and spinal cord. You can see in this picture 3-week-old zygote. Actual size is 1.5 to 2 mm. Early brain development. In the month after birth, the brain grows rapidly, producing billions of neurons, dendrites, and axons, as well as synapses, reaching its peak around the infant's first birthday. In the first 2 years, the brain increases in size from 25% to 75% of its adult weight. Soon after, synapses soon to gradually disappear, a phenomenon known as synaptical pruning. This process is the brain's way of weeding out the unnecessary connection between neurons. Brain growth and development. There is a 5-fold increase in the number of dendrites in cortex from birth to age 2 years. As a result, approximately 15,000 new connections may be established per neuron. This is called transient exuberance. These connections are necessary because thinking and learning require many connections between many parts of the brain. Experience is vital for brain information. If cells are unused, they atrophy and are redirected to other senses. Underused neurons like synapses are inactivated by a pruning process. When children suffer brain damage, cognitive processes are usually impaired. These processes often improve gradually, showing the brain's plasticity. The brain's organization is somewhat flexible, and if damaged, the brain can make new connections. Thank you.